I was born to bring the mortal realms to heal. I died to defeat chaos, was remade, then died again under the hammer of the soul thief. But still I stand, and I stand tall. By the grace of my master Nagash, I have become the doom of empires. Katakros, Mortarch of the Necropolis, the Undefeated. Katakros strides the mortal realms as a colossus of war. Accompanied by his royal legions, this immortal strategist coordinates not just the battle before him, but a sprawling campaign across the lands. Those who seek to slay him are either dispatched by a champion or cut down by the glaive of the Mortarch himself. Katakros is the emperor of an undying elite, and he goes to war with all the pomp and circumstance that benefits his station. Distrusting steed since the disastrous chariot charge that cost him his life, he simply strides to battle with the surety of a god. It is his wont to take a commanding vantage point from which he can look down on the battlefield, surrounded by the most valued aides, just as he did in life, though, like their master, they too are long dead. The regiments of the Katakrosian army are the Mortarch's blade and shield, for he has no wish to sully himself with the business of violence. Instead, he focuses on more cerebral matters, his indomitable will reaching out to invigorate and inspire his troops wherever his gaze passes across them. A Katakrosian legion is a perfectly honed tool of war, a military body of surpassing discipline guided by the genius of a leader steeped in centuries of experience. His time spent trapped within the storm vault of Lake Lethis did not still his mind. Having dwelt on matters of revenge across an eternity of the Age of Chaos is now more sophisticated and dangerous weapon than before. The supernatural focus Katakros brings to the art of war is facilitated by his entourage. At his right hand is the Legion Mortis, the high-helmed champion who commands the Immortus Guard that protects him on the field of battle. At his left is the Prime Necropharaoh, the bearer of Katakros' sacred banner. All creatures living and dead that see the standard's glinting black capstone raised upon the horizon hear the Mortarch's tones clear in their mind wherever he speaks. Oftentimes, Katakros will wage several wars at once. Via the bird-like messengers of his spy master, he coordinates overlapping campaigns that stretch across thousands of leagues. Even as he breaks the foe's armies piece by piece, he dictates documents for their surrender to his keepers of knowledge. For should enough of the enemy survive to provide a profitable source of tithe, he will seal their fate by binding them to an inescapable arcane contract. In Nagash's eyes, Katakros is the perfect general. He was remade in the idealized form of an exemplar of undeath, a fact he knows full well, further compounding his monstrous sense of superiority. Should a supplement grovel enough or prove to be silver-tongued, the Mortarch can be bargained with. He will just as willingly subjugate nations through his own twisted form of diplomacy to secure a vassal state, and thereby a steady supply of bone, as he will crush them through military action. To him, it is one and the same. Either way, he will have his victory in the end. After being freed by Lady Olander from the midnight tomb of Lake Lethis, Katakros' spirit raged across Shyish. It howled from Stygics back to Nagashazar, a blistering force of anger and injured pride, so strong it left the devastation of a raging cyclone in its wake. Down into the depths of Shyish Nadir it went, screaming all the while. When it reached the abyssal depths of Nagashazar, it howled around the spires and citadels until Nagash himself returned to the blackness and silt of that realm. He took the essence of Katakros and remade it, taking care to keep every nuance of hatred for Sigmar intact, including the knowledge of the God King's war form, right down to each arc of the hammer's swing that had seen Katakros' former incarnation undone. In a dark mirror of Sigmar's own reforging process, Katakros was born anew, invested with every iota of artifice Nagash can muster. The glaive Indicat and the shield Immortus were given to the shining avatar of undeath by the Nighthaunt handmaidens of Oleander herself. His remnant of war was enchanted by Archon the Black in a ceremony of guardianship, and Nagash intoned the 6 hexagrammatical rite from his Liber Necros. Katakros stepped whole from the laboratories of Nagashazar once more. Taking his throne amidst solemn fanfare, he was welcomed by his old title, the Undefeated, by the Morsian Order, for they had long awaited his return, and wished more than ever to be in his favor. Being, as his current incarnation had indeed been spared the shame of defeat, Katakros did not see it necessary to correct them. Eternally he vowed to earn the epitaph across the aeons, for he had tasted quite enough of physical death to last a dozen lifetimes. With the Katakrosian legions unearthed from their secret catacombs and marching en masse at his command, the Mortarch of the Necropolis was swift to make an impact across Shyish and beyond. In the Stormcast Eternals he saw a new challenge, one against whom he was keen to test his mettle, for a strike against them would be a strike against Sigmar. In learning all he could of this new foe, he discovered that the anvils of Heldenhammer boasted some rivals familiar to him, not from the current age, but from the age of myth. Those Shyishan warlords had been given new life, an immortality of sort, by the God King's hand. Katakros took direct command of the legion he considered foremost amongst the Ossiarch ranks, the Mortis Praetorians, and marched out from Shyish Nadir via the Nilith Realm Gate. Guided by his spy master, he tracked down the warrior chamber of Thranis Greygaunt even as they sought to banish the Nighthaunt armies plaguing the city of Senport. The Stormcast Eternals fought bravely, but against Katakros' merciless cunning, even the famously battle-wise anvils were found wanting. Pushed back to the shores of the raging Daxomatic River, the Greygaunts were trapped and put to the sword, departing back to Aesir in flashes of celestial light, until there were none left save Lord Thranis himself. This one the Mortarch wanted to duel in person, disarming him first of his hammer, and then his sword, before dispatching him back to Sigmar with the name Katakros on his lips. Katakros versus a Lord of Change. The change demon spilled out by the hundreds, a gobbler mess of pink and blue flesh pouring from the Pharaoh's realm gate. Katakros sent in another cohort of Mortech guard, his lips set in a disapproving frown as their front ranks were transmuted to a scattering of multicolored sparks. The portal had served him well, but he had already expended 3 cohorts in this reclamation. The Mortarch glanced at the stalkers picking their way through the rubble. "Contain it," he said, his syllables clipped and precise. The stalkers leapt forward, slashing their great blades through the feathered-crowned demon herald, still widening the rift. Behind them came a pair of Gothazar harvesters, their bludgeoning blows from their mace-like hands crushing larger demons, even as their tails and side limbs smashed lesser versions into puffs of brimstone flame. A vast avian monstrosity came through the split in reality, claws ripping the gateway wide. As it unfurled its mighty wings, it met Katakros' gaze and shrieked a challenge. A doppelganger of the monstrosity shimmered close by on the Mortarch's left side, becoming solid even as the original disappeared entirely. "Attend me," said Katakros to his retainers as the demon came forward, its great talon foot descending to crush his aides. The Aviarch sunk a dagger into its knee, but then the Spymaster and the Necropharaohs were consumed by a burst of energy, transformed into a scattering blue ravens that cawed, "Zeech! Zeech!" in alarm. His Legion Mortis stepped in, blocking the creature's bladed staff before stabbing it in the wrist. The greater demon simply leant down and bit his head clean off. It made an arcane gesture, and the scribe curled into a weird spiral of bone. All inconvenient fates, thought Katakros, but far from irreparable. "So be it," sighed Katakros, raising the glaive Indicant. The demon belched a torrent of warp flame, but Katakros took it on his shield, dispersing it. Had the creature thought him so ill-prepared? He laughed, flames curling from his lips as he swept Indicant around in a perfect arc. The beast raised its staff, but the glaive cut right through it, sinking into the serpentine neck. The massive head fell into the dirt. Katakros snorted ash. This day would not yield a single bone, but the great conspirator would know his name. That, at least, was a start. Katakros is a really cool character. I like his model's really awesome. I had fun painting it. I like his superiority complex he has. I guess it's really true with all the characters, like with Sigvald and Slaanesh. But I like how smart he is too. He's able to play like 5D chess right up there with Zeech almost. He has plans. He has backup plans. Like when he went and invaded the Allgate, he knew he wasn't going to win the fight with Archeon. He knew he wasn't going to be able to take it all in one body, but he came, set up a nice little fob within the all gate and the all points, and is ready to keep taking on the Varanspire. He made it to the Varanspire despite all of that, and ended up, quote unquote, being defeated by Archeon, but I don't really think it counts as a defeat when you plan for that setback. It's part of his plan. He has yet to lose. He still has a foothold within the all points. He has multiple bodies. He's ready to keep leading. He probably does not want to get hit by the Slayer of Kings anymore, though. That might do some more damage because that wound he could still feel. So I'm really interested to see where Katakros' story goes from there. Right now, like, we know he made a deal with Morathi to let her in and shit. We know... Ooh, sorry, my bad. We know he's willing to make those deals. And I want to know what's going to happen with Teclis coming out. I don't think there's much of a story for him taking part in it at all. But I hope there is a story within the Broken Realm setting that will go in and show us what he's doing within the all points, or if he's making any more progress. Because all the stories have been outside of it, really, other than Morathi sneaking in and becoming a god. But it really wasn't a focus on the all points and what Katakros is doing. Because, you know, there's no way the Chaos forces are just letting Katakros just sit there. There's, like, they're going to be trying to push him back out. What's Katakros doing? He's probably trying to push back in. I want to know what's happening. I want to see what's going on. I'm very interested in his story. He's a character I like a lot. Wouldn't say love, but I like a lot. I want to know more about him. I don't find him boring like some other characters. That's for sure. Like Archon. I don't think Archon the Black is a gripping character compared to Katakros. But that's just my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for stopping by and listening. Have a great day.